We have a Coppola questions before we move on.
We sort of answered this, but what was with the scene with Elijah Wood and the prostitute at the beginning? Is it just to show that he's missing his wife?
I think it was that, and also to, like I said, to set up the false expectation that you're watching the bad cop in the movie. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and then he ends up not really being the bad cop. He's just a guy kind of in a depressing state in his life.
Yeah.
And what he's doing is relatively not anything near what everybody else in his department seems to be in on.
He's sort of like hitting rock bottom. And,
Yeah.
And I think maybe, you know, there's potential that he was sort of on a suicidal path, and that's why he was like, well, fuck it, let's just do this. But
That's a good point. Yeah. Maybe he was planning on killing himself. So he just, whatever.
But then he realizes, wait, my life wasn't that bad.
Right.
Doesn't he even say at one point, like, maybe I should get my shit together?
I think so, yeah.
Isn't it like outside of the pepper mill when they're talking?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he says, man, maybe I should just get my shit together. Maybe I should.
We sort of answered this one, but do you think Stone's dad was a cop?
Yeah, I think
do.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Former detective. Maybe, you know,
I feel like he'd been a sounding board for a lot of Stone's ideas, and like for whatever reason Stone never got to the level of detective. He was stuck in the evidence department or whatever.
maybe he never lived up to his dad's expectations. And
Yeah, well, I think they hint that his potential was better than it was. Like, he's a pretty good detective. He figures all this shit out. You know, and he's trying to come to the department with better ideas on how to maximize the, you know, the evidence collection and run it better and solve crimes better. And they just blow him off. So
Yeah.
And the loser that Ethan Suplee plays is a detective. Like, you gotta imagine he's seen that guy, been like, really, I'm in this position, he's in that position.
right.
We sort of answered this one too, but do you think Stone actually knew anything about the vault ahead of time, or was he actually the bumbling doofus he seemed to be, and really just like stumbled upon this through, you know, finding those little chain of clues?
That's a good question. I don't know.
See, I thought he really wasn't bumbling. I thought that was an act
Yeah.
to get people to underestimate him, because that works to his favor in a lot of stuff.
Or he just is having fun with David.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, there are numerous things he does that are just like, what? Like the whole plan is like half cocked anyway. You know, it seems like it's well thought out, but it's really not. Like, they show up and they don't even know there's an extra woman there, and like, what do they do with her? And he shoots the guy, and, and then you know, she sees his face, and they don't have a backup belt for their drill bit, so like if anything went wrong, their whole plan would be shot, which happens multiple times. So
Yeah. He can think on his feet really well, though.
Because I mean, you gotta think about it too. Like, didn't they say that the vault had only been installed 3 months prior or something like that?
yeah,
So I think they really did stumble upon this vault, and he was expecting there to be money or drugs inside legitimately, but not to the, you know, he was not expected to find diamonds and all that other shit.
Yeah. Millions and millions. We asked this as we went, but wouldn't the vault have some security cameras or sensors of some kind holding millions of dollars worth of diamonds and money?
or anything, like any security other than
the rent-a-cop outside.
strung out biker who lives above it with some chick. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, like that seems like that's their only security, but they let two guys bungle in and then, you know, sit there over the course of a night trying to drill into this thing, and nobody else shows up, doesn't trigger any sort of alarms. Like,
They're there for a long time.
they're parked right in front of the building the whole time.
Yeah.
It rouses the security guard's interest. So.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe they didn't, you know, I could see it from a point of view. You don't think anybody would be stupid enough to try to rip you off. So why even, and it's in such an obscure place. Like who in a million years is going to find this? It's just, you know, not thinking through every
Yeah. It could have been if
possibility.
had tighter security, it would arouse more suspicion, and they were going for
that too.
under the radar thing. Like, who's going to rob a random
grocery
convenience store
yeah,
out in some ghetto ass place?
Yeah.
And even if they did, they're not going to be able to get through, the padlocked freezer and then through the vault door that they have there. So why bother?
Yeah, and what was it, 3 feet of concrete
and steel.
So like any petty
reinforced
thief
concrete.
is not going to be able to get into it and do anything with it, or even know that there's something there.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they were so successful. They were able to run this whole operation so underground that nobody noticed it.
Yeah.
Plus, if I took it as the explosion had popped the panel open, but if it hadn't, if you walked in there, you're just looking at what appears to be a white tiled room. So, I don't know.
Although I thought that was kind of weird. Like, why have all of this stuff? Like, I expected each one of those boxes to be locked, like a bank deposit, Instead, they're just unlocked and they're all just in these like little closet cubbies.
There also seems to be a lot of people in on this score, all those people at the hotel, and they're probably desperate for money at times, all of those people, but maybe they get paid off by this organization. And
or they're just afraid that if they were to try to attempt this, they would be killed.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They probably know what's going on. I mean, the people, the other employees knew what was up when they stopped Jim from going to the truck. Like, don't mess with that, so they knew what was up with it. And maybe their tips was their payoff, like they're not actually making that much in tips. They're getting paid by the organization.
Yeah, maybe that's what was going on with
day.
Jim, and that's how he got paid so much in tips. Was
basically like, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah,
we'll pay off a decent amount of money, and you don't have to worry about it. And that keeps anybody from getting greedy.
Yeah.
I don't think that it would, but do you think the explosion would have triggered the failsafe on the vault door?
I don't think it was strong enough.
Yeah, I don't think it was
like
strong
it was
enough
enough to punch through that little 1/4 inch they had left, but not enough to shake the door, because it was a huge vault door. So,
I mean, that would probably be a pretty bad design flaw, because like if there was an earthquake or something, you can't open the vault.
You want to make sure that it had to be significant.
Yeah. And my final question is, what was with him blowing his nose out because of the burger? It was so strange.
Yeah, I think it was just cleared his
but,
sinuses to taste better,
I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, I could see the
Nigel's
dust
thinking.
from the concrete.
Yeah.
Because they're drilling into that stuff. But yeah, that was strange.
My other one was just, I think we also talked about it. It's hypothetical. Like, why is Jerry Lewis in this movie? And I guess like his character doesn't seem to serve any purpose aside from maybe hinting that Jim has this relationship with his dad, but like they never flesh it out or follow up on it. Maybe they couldn't. Maybe they couldn't film more with him or something, and they just dropped it or cut it out.
They kind of hinted in the behind the scenes that there was more to the relationship between his dad and Jim. So yeah, maybe it was like Jerry Lewis was being Jerry Lewis and was like, okay, well, we need to get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
We got him for a day. That's good enough. And if nothing else, that is probably something that probably helped at least draw a few eyeballs to this movie of like, this is the very last performance from Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a strange way to go out. I was in 2 scenes in that movie, and I said, Jesus Christ, Jimmy, your friend is here. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel better about it knowing that he was friends with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just something I needed somebody to play it. And,
I feel like it was a bigger scene
or
or a bigger character on paper, but for whatever reason, I think they had to cut it down. Which, I feel like this movie flows really well.
Yeah.
Very short, very straightforward movie.
I guess I'm more hypothetical, but do you think Stone really had a change of heart at the end, or was he always planning to run away with David, or did something change that like he was planning to kill David and then, had that as a backup plan or something? Like, was he actually trying to apologize when he came in and David killed him? It feels like the movie makes it seem like he did, but
I think he
was so ready to just shoot him to get him to open the door, like, and how we've seen him just kill people in cold blood makes me wonder if he was just planning to do away with him
I think he had
Anyway.
a genuine connection with David and actually really liked him.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think he was trying to make amends when he came back in. But at the same time, I could see him just being like, well, obviously you're not in this as much as I am at the end, and then maybe killing him and the girl at the same time. So he was definitely planning on killing that girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My only question that we haven't gone over is, if this is like a fucking functioning convenience store or grocery store, how did nobody fucking show up early in the morning? Like you gotta like get in there and prep shit.
Yeah.
I mean they're in there at daylight.
I guess that was my other question. Like, how fucking long were they doing this heist? Like 12 hours, 13 hours,
Yeah,
something
I mean,
where nobody shows up?
They said
daytime
something
or
about
daylight.
it being closed on, I think it was
Oh, that's
Sunday.
right. They said Sundays, right?
So maybe they came in on Saturday night.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that because it was kind of a throwaway line.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
So they
maybe
they
that's
just
what
closed
happened.
one day of the week, and I think you're
Yeah.
right. I think it was Sunday.
I would be willing to bet, though, that there's somebody who comes in, maybe the owner does the books on
somebody
Sunday
with-
or something.
Yeah.
Share
I
comes
thought,
in.
or at least somebody would drive by and see what's
Yeah,
going on.
check it
Maybe
out.
because they have the guy living above it as their security guy. But like, if nobody's
Maybe.
heard from him, it just feels like there should be tighter security with this.
I would assume, maybe, whoever is running the convenience store is definitely in on what's going on in that vault. So, probably that guy upstairs would have let them know what was going on.